Hi everyone, welcome to today's session. Today we are going to analyze the DNS packet on the Wireshark, and let's see what all are the fields in the DNS header and what are all the flags as well as the additional settings which we can see in the Wireshark in order to analyze a DNS packet in a better way. So now I am on the Wireshark screen. In the Wireshark screen, we can see we have multiple capture adapters running here. I am on the Ethernet, so I am going to select this Ethernet. I can add a filter, otherwise it's going to capture all the traffic on this Ethernet adapter. So I am going to go with the port 53, which is of the DNS. I'm not mentioning any protocol so that all the DNS traffic is captured irrespective whether the DNS is using TCP or UDP protocol. If we want to specifically capture UDP, we can also mention UDP port 53. So by clicking on Ethernet, double clicking, it's going to start the packet. It's going to only capture the DNS traffic for us. So let us wait in order. So here we can see 8 packets have been captured so far and it's displaying 8. So yeah, so packet increased. So let us stop the packet capture. We can stop it by clicking on the red button. So now we have captured total of 86 packets along with the TCP protocol also being used at some places. So let's analyze. So starting the analysis from the very first packet, let's go from here. Okay, so let's start from here. So first of all, what I'm going to do in order to start the DNS packet analysis, selecting the first DNS packet from here. Below, I can see there are different layers of the reference model. So first is the frame, the physical layer, which is telling on wire 840 bits and the rest of the information. The second is the data link layer Ethernet 2, which is telling along with the MAC address information. Then is the internet layer, which is the which provide us the information about the IP address, source IP and destination IP address. So we can see source is IPv6 and destination is also IPv6 in our case. UDP. So this is the protocol transport layer, and then is the DNS application layer header is added. So UDP protocol is being used. The source port from the machine is this, and the destination port is 53. So for this UDP protocol DNS packet, we are going to see this is the domain name system and the query is this. And in order to start the analysis, what I'm going to do, I'm going to select the transaction ID because as we have already discussed in our earlier videos, transaction ID is something which is unique and which helps us to track all the similar query as well as response for a particular DNS request. So I'm going to select this and I'm going to go here, apply as filter selected, so that this transaction IDs, all the packets are filtered out. So once I click on this, so I see there is a query plus there is a response to it. So this is the first packet which is of query, and then there is a response packet to it as well. So I've successfully, using the transaction ID, I was able to capture a particular DNS request and response. Going forward, what I am going to look at is what is the DNS query about. So analyzing the first packet, which is of query, I'm looking at the transaction ID using which I have filtered out. The next part is flags, what all flags are enabled. So almost all flags are set to 0, which means they are not set. Only one flag is here set to 1, which means recursion desired. So do query recursively. So when the query was initiated, the source have mentioned that I want the recursive response of this query. That is why the recursion is desired. Next, we can see this is the header field, transaction ID, all the flags, question, answer, authoritative resource record, and additional resource record. The question count is only set to 1, all other fields are 0. So we can analyze further the query. What is the query about? So here we are querying about login.microsoftonline.com. So this is the domain name, and here we can also see the three tuple resource record, which is the part of question header, which is the part of question section basically, and I have discussed the same in my previous video. You can find the link of that video at the right top. So here we can see the name login.microsoftonline.com. We are trying to resolve this and get an IP address. The type is a record, so we are looking for an IPv4 address. The class is internet here. Now we have received a response in the third packet. After, if you follow the sequence 1 to 3, the response was captured in the third packet. That is why it says response in third here. Now if I click on the response header, now I will see, let me just quickly close out these fields. I will see the transaction ID again matches. And one more important thing which will be happening here is the internet protocol layer. So in this, the source and destination are going to get reversed. The query was initiated from the source IP towards the destination IP, and the response will be in the opposite manner. Next, we can see the transaction ID is same. We can also look at the flags. Let's check out all the flags. So here we see this is a response message. That is why this is set to 1. Recursion desired, do query recursively. This was set to 1 by the query. And in the response, the recursion available is set to 1. Server can do recursive query. So we are telling that yes, recursive response is available. Next, we can see the question count and the answer resource record. So question count is still 1 because there was only one query initiated, and that is going to get similarly copied up here. And answer resource record is going to give us all the name server information which are providing the A record for our query. So let's check back quickly the query part. It's going to be the pretty same, login.microsoftonline.com. And if I move forward with the answer, so these are all the answer resource records which I have received back. So I can see login.microsoftonline.com. This is a CNAME information which I am receiving back. Mostly CNAMEs are used in a situation where the DNS is directing us towards the CDN, the Content Delivery Network Edge server, rather than directing us directly towards the Microsoft login servers. It is directing us to the Content Delivery Network Edge server. So this is mostly done in situations where we want to reduce the load on the actual server. So this is the CNAME information which we are seeing, and the other type A records which provide us the actual information which IP address we can connect to in order to create a connection with login.microsoftonline.com. So this was all about the query and response, looking into the DNS packet, how we can track it. The another thing is looking at the time window as well. So this is also very important. How much time the DNS have taken. So here we can see around less than 2 milliseconds is the time period taken by the DNS resolver to respond back with an answer. So this is a good response time, and our query was successfully resolved, and we can look at the response answers as well using the resource record. So that was all for today's session. Thank you so much everyone for your time. I hope you liked this session and keep supporting us. Thank you.